hydrologic cycle explains the movement of water molecules from the Earth's surface to the atmosphere and back again, often to depths below the surface. This system is a continuous exchange of moisture between the oceans, the atmosphere, and the land, powered by solar energy. Water evaporates in the atmosphere from the Earth's surface, and some water vapor comes from plants through transpiration. Water vapor is more likely to condense from a gas to a liquid in the cool air to form cloud droplets. These cloud droplets grow until they cannot hold the liquid anymore, as it precipitates back to Earth. When precipitation falls on the ground, it takes various courses on its way to the ocean. Some evaporate and return to the sky, others penetrate on the ground as soil moisture or groundwater, and others run into rivers and streams. Some of the water is collected by people or other life forms at various cycle phases for domestic, industrial, and agricultural purposes. Agriculture consumes around 42% of all fresh water. Around 39% of our fresh water is utilized to generate power. 11% is used in urban and rural residences, workplace, and hotels. And the remaining 8% is used in manufacturing and mining. Fresh water could be divided into groundwater and surface water. On the other hand, salt water moves around bodies of water through ocean circulation. Furthermore, we can convert salt water into fresh water through desalination for human use. Just because water covers 3/4 of the Earth's surface, it may appear that we will never run out of this vital resource. In fact, the amount of usable fresh water is limited. The oceans contain almost 97% of the world's water as salt water. Glaciers, ice caps, and snowy mountain ranges hold 2% of the world's water as fresh water. That leaves us with only 1% of the world's water to meet our daily water requirements. Our freshwater supplies are stored in aquifers, bedrock fissures beneath the ground, and lakes, rivers, and streams on the world's surface.
In the Philippines, there are 18 major river basins and 421 principal river basins. The majority of the country's 79 lakes are used for fishing. Groundwater sources can be found all around the country, covering 500,000 square kilometers. Rainfall or seepage from rivers and lakes replenishes groundwater supplies on a regular basis. Reservoirs, rivers, lakes, and tiny streams collect rainfall. Dams are also one of the sources of water in the country, either collecting water from rain or rivers. One of the major river resources is the Cagayan River. Lakes like Lake Lanao in Ormoc City and Lake Lanao in Lanao del Sur are some lakes whose water is drinkable after treatment. Groundwater sources are mostly found in Region 1 and Region 7. There are 4 major groundwater reservoirs, namely Cagayan, Central Luzon, Agusan, and Cotabato. Examples of dams are San Roque Dam, Angat Dam, Agusan Dam, Wawa Dam, and so many more.
However, the main problem that the country is facing is the unevenly distributed water resources throughout the world. As World Wildlife Fund Incorporated stated that some 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to water, and a total of 2.7 billion find water scarce for at least 1 month of the year. Inadequate sanitation is also a problem for 2.4 billion people. They are exposed to diseases such as cholera, typhoid fever, and other waterborne illnesses. 2 million people, mostly children, die each year from diarrheal diseases alone. In our locality, millions of people lack adequate access to water and sanitation despite the abundance of water resources in the Philippines. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of every 10 people does not have access to better water resources. In 2019, the east zone of Metro Manila had intermittent to no water supply. The water crisis was due to the El Nino, wherein Manila Water, the sole provider of water in the east zone of Metro Manila, failed to evenly distribute the water despite knowing the possible crisis. Meanwhile, in Albay, Philippines, people there mostly begin their day finding enough water. Residents must travel 25 minutes to reach the aquifer because most of their wells have dried up due to prolonged drought. Another main problem across the world is water pollution. Combinations of different garbage and chemical substances all end up in our planet's water bodies. It affects not only marine life but also threatens human and wildlife health. Furthermore, declining water quality has become a global concern due to human population growth, expansion of industrial and agricultural activities, and climate change that threatens to disrupt the hydrological cycle. In smaller scope, the Philippines is one of the countries experiencing extreme water pollution. In fact, in Metro Manila, 3 million people rely on unsafe water, while 7 million people lack access to improved sanitation. According to DNR, 55 people die every day from diseases such as leptospirosis, malaria, dengue, hepatitis A and E, and typhoid fever caused by lack of proper sewerage and sanitation facilities.
Through the help of science and technology, some companies implement water sanitation and treatment, including the project under Gates Foundation called GANI Omniprocessor. This ingenious machine can convert sewage sludge into usable and drinkable water. It may sound ridiculous, but technologically and scientifically, it is far safer and healthier than tap water. The goal of this project is to assist billions of people who do not have access to clean sanitized water. Not only science and technology supports the importance of water resources, also religious organizations such as the United Methodist Church. The organization promotes that all Christians should be good stewards of water through the acts of conservation and protection. UMC also organized methods of conserving water such as using less water in bathing, drinking tap water, not bottled, considering having lawns or landscaping, using low-flow faucets or showers, low-pressure toilets, and using cloth napkins instead of water. Lastly, be aware of consuming water. Make sure it is clean, since according to Lori King of UMC, the number one killer of children under the age of 5 is diarrheal disease due to the consuming polluted waters. Now, let me ask you a question. As a citizen of this country and a human being in this world, how can you help to prevent the water crisis?
The first thing you need to do is to conserve as much water as possible. Shower for shorter periods, reuse grey water, install low-flow toilets, or simply use the tabo. You should also start collecting rainwater right now. It can be used to clean or water your garden.
Secondly, reduce water pollution as well. Begin your day by properly disposing of toxic and chemical substances rather than pouring them down the drain. Do not dispose of your waste in bodies of water. Remember that contaminated water is one of the main problems with water resources, to help both people and the environment with the same cause.
Thirdly, instead of using Google, Bing, or Yahoo, use browsers with a cause, such as setting up Give Water or Ocean Hero as your default search engine. These search engines gain ad revenues to bring clean water and sanitation to help people in need. These also make movements to clean the water bodies by recovering ocean-bound plastic bottles. In short, every search you conduct has a significant impact on our water resources.
Finally, open your eyes and become more aware of what is going on in the world. Educate yourself about the crisis and encourage others to do the same. Volunteer in your community or with any organization that supports water conservation.
To sum it up,
the hydrologic cycle is the water activity within the earth from evaporation, condensation, transpiration, precipitation, and some penetration. The water activity contributes a lot to the environment. There are two types of water that are available and collected for different uses. As the earth is mostly composed of water, only a small percentage of this can be used for our daily lives. Just as the Philippines is surrounded by seas and oceans, most of its water sources come from the lakes, rivers, and dams which are abundant in Cagayan, Central Luzon, Agusan, and Cotabato. Even with the water sources available, there is still uneven distribution of sanitary water in the Philippines. There are instances in which water reservoirs are dried up due to droughts, while some are heavily polluted. As inhabitants of this planet, we are held responsible for our water usage. This includes creating solutions to sanitize polluted waters and minimize water wastage.
Our team hopes that by implementing the action plan we've mentioned, even small step we take will eventually lead to a better world. It is important for people to know that climate change is real and happening. It gives us a bad and negative impact on all of our resources, including the increasingly scarce water resources. Lastly, there is no such thing so-called second home. We only have one, the Earth. That is why we are calling everyone, let us work together and save the Earth and secure the only water resource we have that can sustain life to people and the planet.